breezy, so sorry if the wind's picking it up, but just kind of a quick overview. This is what we call a ridger, or some people call it hiller, ditcher, other names for it. But what we got here is a Hawkins Cultimax, but it's equipped with ridging units. Usually this is kind of like a cultivator sweep. Kind of what we like though about this unit is it's flexible, so each row is kind of independent. A lot of ridgers are solid. It's just a preference thing, or just a cost thing too, but we use this both as a cultivator and everything else. So this is kind of what we're after here. If we go down below the row, so the idea is to make a nice little channel for that water to run down, and everything's looking good. This is on bean ground, so it's always a little nicer to cultivate on or ridge on. It's nice and mellow. Everything's looking good. Once again, it's the 16 row. It helped this year. It's double barred this year. Adds a little weight to it. Got her on the 8295R. So this corn's showing really good height over here. Usually whenever you're next to kind of a windbreak or trees can protect the corn from the wind. You'll get a little bit extra height out of the corn. We got a 50% chance of rain tonight, depending on who you look at. So we kind of want to get this mostly done. I got 2 other fields done. My brother did a couple before me with this already. So we don't have a lot of gravity irrigated fields. Like, the only problem is once you get past the height of the tractor where you start snapping off, you kind of run out of ways to get the corn ridged. And so when you go to try to irrigate it, it's going to be pretty difficult. So this is kind of a crucial thing to do on gravity irrigated corn. And if you're wondering what gravity irrigated corn is, so we're out here in Nebraska. Majority of it's probably pivot irrigated, the ones with the big circle pivots that you might see from airplanes or something like that, the circles in the field. This is where we just lay out pipe at the end of the field. It's got gates, little gates in it about this big. You go along and you open one for either every row or every other row, and you run water down each row or every other row, clear down to the other end, and that'll soak up that row and that corn. Got to turn around and we're back. And this is probably the cheapest way to irrigate a field with zero, startup cost. It should be the cheapest way to irrigate a field. Now, it's not the most efficient way to irrigate a field because you're at the total mercy of the absorption rate of the soil when running this, doing irrigation this way. When we open the gate at this end, you can kind of adjust it on the speed, but you really don't know until you do a few sets on how much it's going to soak, and each row is going to be different from the next row. So that's something we'll kind of go over when we start irrigating season here. For those of you who've probably seen my channel before, you kind of know what we're doing here. But for those of you just starting to stop by, welcome. And yeah, like I said, the water will come to this end. Another setback is it can run off and go into the creek. I mean, I guess that's not terrible, but I mean, it's for us, we're just kind of wasting money then because it's not staying in the field. Another reason why we'll gravity irrigate a field versus like a pivot field is typically the shapes of these fields are just not very conducive to putting a center pivot on. It just won't pick up everything very effectively. So then pipe's still used. It's just better for kind of square fields or weird shaped fields. You can lay the pipe anywhere you kind of want to go. Another form that is sometimes used for fields like this is called drip tape irrigation. That's when about 15 inches deep, there's a little leaky pipe about this big, sub-tilled into the ground, and then there's kind of like sections throughout here, and they'll turn it on and then it'll sub-irrigate the ground. That's pretty efficient because there's no evaporation. The only thing is cost on that is a little bit higher. So a lot of people, that's kind of one of the restrictions to doing it that way. Some of the other things we've been doing on our farm is John's gotten most of the second application spraying herbicides put on both corn and soybeans. This field here has been sprayed a second time. Typically for us it takes 2 spraying passes for herbicides to keep the weeds at bay until, you know, the corn canopies, and once the corn canopies, meaning it shades the whole row, typically weeds won't grow as easily, so you shouldn't have to spray from here on out. Plus, you don't really want to spray when corn gets too tall. Once it starts hitting that, you know, about 3 foot tall, 2 to 3 foot tall, you can start kind of affecting the way that corn plant can grow. We've done it years ago with Roundup. It can kind of mess up that ear growth. So weird things will grow or will happen. So there come stages that you just don't want to spray herbicide anymore. One thing you could do is run drops and spray around the base of the plant, but like I said, usually after you get corn to canopy and you've got good weed control by then, usually you're not going to have too many weeds growing beyond that point. And also with soybeans, we got our second spraying done like it was. And with the second spraying, hopefully we get a good kill on all of our weeds. We did go extend beans, for those of you who know the difference. That's the dicamba bean. But just because it's something we're more comfortable still with. And so we'll see how that goes. Weeds are just continually getting harder and harder to kill with herbicides. This year was no exception. We may not get a perfect kill on them, but I feel like we got a decent kill on all of them. We actually went on an 80. We even used some Liberty to kill off some water hemp issues that we had. So we'll see how that works too. Just kind of going through, kind of catching you up to speed on what I'll haven't caught up here or missed video anyway. So just been really busy. And yeah, this will be just kind of a short video, but we'll kind of move into irrigation season here. Shortly we'll be laying out pipe for this gravity field and then starting up some pivots if it dries out. We do got some fertigation. That's when we apply fertilizer through our pivots coming up. We actually bought some tanks. We'll show you up in an upcoming video here as well. So stay tuned for all that stuff, guys. And you know, I might wrap this up here. Just get a short video back out and we'll get the things rolling again here. And things are looking good. We've been getting decent moisture here. I know guys back east haven't, and hopefully they can hold on here. I always hate to, I mean, I love that the corn price is bumped, but I also don't like to wish bad on anybody as well. So if you're in the eastern corn belt, hang in there. Hopefully you get some rain. And we'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you.